Yeah, you.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Daryl, big fan. I've been using since 12,
Oh, cool.
since the SMS.
Oh, wow.
Currently in a relationship thanks to CMB.
Oh my god! You have to take photos.
So I was using it back in San Francisco in 2012.
Yeah.
And because it's where you guys were based, right?
Yeah.
So it's very popular there. But it's more of a sausage fest over there, right? As you mentioned, compared to say another city like New York or
Yeah,
something.
for sure.
So when you started there, how did you manage that? Because the matching's one a day,
Yeah.
and I would get none for weeks,
Yeah.
right? So how did you tweak your algorithm there? And another question is, you mentioned monetization and the success metric being dates. So in the dating space, churn is inherently inbuilt in the model. How do you reconcile that? Because your monetization strategy depends on less churn.
Yeah.
And actually, I feel like you would want people to churn because that's like a good thing. People are getting married and off the platform, right? Yeah. So how?
Yeah, so let's talk about churn first, because it is dating is like it's part of the dating category. It's churn is like the fact of life. I think there is positive churn and negative churn. Positive churn is people leave because, like they found somebody through Coffee Meets Bagel and they don't need it anymore, and that's a great churn because, and I don't really care if you've used it for a day and you left because you find somebody through, like, the first match was like the perfect match, and I hate those people. and then so you got off the app, or you've been using it for a year. Like, I don't really care. Like, we want positive churn because when positive churn happens, they tell everyone. Most of the time, there are some people who don't want to talk about it, but most of the times they tell everyone that they've actually met somebody through Coffee Meets Bagel, and they bring in a ton more people. And when they're actually using the product as well, they actually engage a lot more and they spend a lot more than people who are not having success, not going on dates. So obviously we want positive churn. There's also negative churn, and that's significantly more. That's actually one of the reasons why, well, there are a couple things you can do. Of course, you're gonna, like any other good product, you have to work on reducing that. And I think one of the reasons why Coffee Meets Bagel has, compared to average dating category, higher retention rate is because of the way our model works, because it's elongated, there's limited amount of matches, and so people don't get as tired of it so quickly. And that's actually one of the reasons why I said in dating, I believe like being able to monetize on your users quickly is important, because no matter what you do, and even if they're going on a lot of dates, they will churn. Average lifetime of this category is like 4 to 6 months, and it's really hard to get beyond that. And so that's why I think you need to know how to monetize on your users quickly, because it's not like typical social network where you sign up for Facebook and 10 years later you're still using it. I hope for my members' sake that they're not using Coffee Meets Bagel 10 years later. So you need to be mindful of that. And then I guess answer to your first question, which on the algorithm, so in the very beginning it was just actually one-on-one, and you also had to be like logging in on the same day in order to actually make the match happen. Of course, those were the early days, and we've made tons of product changes so that we don't actually have to be limited by that, because it was severely limiting the number of matches we generated.
Two parts to the question. So first, did you try out various concepts before planning through this? That okay, this is the model which works, or you said, oh no, I know this works. You launched it and
Maybe
saw
switch the
how.
mic because I don't think the mic is here.
So in the initial, two parts to the question. So in the initial days when you were testing it out,
Yeah.
did you test out various concepts and shortlisted this one?
Yeah.
Or you said, okay, I know this is somewhere there and let me launch it and see how it fares.
Yeah.
So how was it? And second part, they say that getting funding in dating apps is not easy.
Yeah.
So how did you go about getting the funding?
Yeah.
How did you raise money?
Yeah, so the answer is no. We actually, after initial research and talking to different people, we just built an MVP based on the concept of every day at noon, you want to curate one quality match. And at the time, the quality, like a measure of quality we used, or I guess in order to give you quality matches, like what we focused on is friend of a friend. And then we tested this out. We hired an Odesk people to build the front end. And then we manually, actually for 3 weeks, we manually matched 50 of our friends who signed up because for beta. And then we emailed them every day, we manually matched them, and then we collected feedback at the end. And it was super positive. And I think one metric that everyone can use to decide if maybe there's a potential for product market fit is NPS score, Net Promoter Score. How are you willing to recommend this product to your friend? And it was very, very overwhelmingly positive. So we decided to stick with that concept. I think in hindsight, we could have, at any stage of a company, I think it's so important to retain that spirit of experimentation and iterating fast. I think in hindsight, we could have moved away from one a day a lot faster, and we should have. But because that concept stuck so well in the very beginning, we actually stuck with that for a long time. And I think that was we could have moved away faster. And so I think it's important that you really constantly, even if you think you found the answer, you can always find a way to improve, right? I think that's really important.
And second one is funding was.
Oh yeah, funding. So funding is interesting. So our first funding was actually super easy. I think I'm very lucky that I went to Stanford and my sister went to Harvard Business School. So between the two of us, we had a good number of connections, and so it wasn't very hard to get meetings in Silicon Valley. So that was a good thing. I guess in hindsight, I think we got really lucky with our seed. We started fundraising, and within a month we actually got our seed. But that it's not always that case, right? In fact, for most of us, it's not the case. I think what's really important for fundraising is making sure you're meeting with the right people. It's almost like dating. You have to meet the right people, and when you do, and by right people, I mean people who buy into your thesis of how the industry, whatever industry you're at, how that's going to grow, how that's going to play out. And when you find that person or that team, it almost doesn't feel like you're selling, you're trying to sell, which sometimes it feels like what fundraising is, but you're almost having a discussion as to how we can actually execute that better. And luckily for our seed, we met that partner relatively quickly, and it was Lightbank, a Chicago-based firm. For our second fundraising, it was relatively difficult because by that point Tinder had kind of taken off, and people were kind of wondering oh, where is the dating, it's kind of getting disrupted, where is it going to land, right? And so we had a tough time, but I think what really got kind of helped us or got us the funding is the engagement metrics that we had. You really need to have a strong engagement metrics, and by that, we were operating for quite a while now, and at that point you really need the numbers to tell the story, right? And luckily we had our daily login, for example, our daily login rate for our user on average is 57%, which is really, really strong for, particularly in a dating app. I think that is a level of Facebook login globally. And so for that kind of strong engagement metric, of course, is what's going to bring you the Series A funding.
Thanks for your presentation. So my question is a tipping point. So what is the most important decision you've ever made in the last 4 years, which boosted the rapid growth of the CMP?
Wow, most important decision. Well, I don't know if this is the most important decision, but I think for many of us, we have nowadays, because because I think there were there were days when if you had the product market fit, like there purely is no need for any kind of marketing. But I think we live in this day and age where people are just overloaded with so many things, and it's even if you have a great product, it's sometimes hard to get discovered. And you need a certain amount of user base in order for you to like start taking off. I think one thing that really helped us is obviously Shark Tank. Before that, we were pretty well penetrated in the coastal regions like New York City and San Francisco, LA. But I think being on Shark Tank, somebody told me like it's like equivalent to $3 to $4 million of marketing spending, and that really put us in the map in terms of like the Middle America and it's also globally as well. And I think that really propelled like people actually got to try it and actually realize that this is a good product. That was very helpful for us.
So you go to Shark Tank just for marketing purpose because you rejected a $30 million offer?
We debated a lot. First of all, I think for any consumer business owners, that's targeting US, definitely consider Shark Tank. We actually debated whether we should get on or not because I think it's different now, but even at the time when we like auditioned, most of the companies on there were like mom and pop shops. They're trying to raise $20,000 for like 50% of equity or something like that. And so we were like, well, is this gonna be like a bad impression among VCs just because like we're on here? But one of my friends who actually were on Shark Tank was like, hey, the marketing and visibility is amazing, so you should definitely get on it. And she didn't end up accepting investment from or getting investment from the sharks, but we also heard that if sharks come in, they could help a lot in terms of like helping you grow the business. So I guess the marketing part was the biggest reason why we got on there, but we were open to having them as an investor as well.
How do you felt when they actually said, I'm going to offer you $30 million, will you take it? And then you said without hesitant no. Like, what were your thought processes like?
There wasn't even a thought process because there was no way we were going to sell, and so it wasn't even like we didn't even have to think about it.
Good. Yeah, the one in football.
So my name's Peter.
Can you say it louder so they could hear you?
Okay. So in the beginning, after you built the MVP, when you were on a relatively tight budget, what was your customer acquisition strategy when social apps are about having people? It's like a chicken egg kind of thing where you can't have an app without a lot of people, but you don't have a lot of money. And so on. So how'd you go about it in the very, very beginning?
Oh yeah, so I think that was actually one of the questions that was on Facebook as well. So the question is, for those of you who might not have heard, how did we go about getting over this chicken and egg hurdle? I think first is the way our app is designed. Luckily, is we didn't need a lot of people to actually get started. The way we launched is really simple. I think around a couple months before we decided to open up, we bothered basically all of our friends and asked them to bother all of their single friends, and we were able to collect about 1,500 email addresses. Then on the day we launched, we sent out emails to 1,500 people. Hey, like we launched, and so if you're single and you want to go on dates, then sign up. About 200 people signed up, and because our app is one a day, it didn't matter if there were 200 people on it or 1 million people on it, like the service was going to be the same. And so we kind of found a way to kind of fake it till you make it. So that was really helpful. And I think before, earlier I stated that for any consumer apps, there's only like a few ways for you to scale, which is paid acquisition or virality, maybe SEO. But then it takes a while for you to get there, right? It takes a while for you to put a monetization strategy in place, whatnot, or maybe you don't have perfect product market fit in the very beginning, which probably you don't. So what do you do until then, right? You do a series of not scalable, I call it a dart games, where you're kind of trying different things and to see what sticks. We did like events, we did flyers, we did whatever we could do that we could think about. partnerships to actually get things going until we were able to take off.
I know that pre-OkCupid and Tinder, dating apps were one of those things people used as a last resort. So they couldn't find anyone, so they went online to find a date. Is that a problem that you still see? Do you still see a pool of people who are coming on your app just because they really want to find someone and there's no other option left?
So, so the question is like, are people still coming to dating apps as a last resort? I guess I don't have the answer to that because I don't know if they're the last resort. I mean, a lot of people that I meet on coffee meets are seem completely fine, so I don't think so. But I think one thing that Tinder did as a favor to the entire dating category is that it did take away, because the adoption rate of seeing Tinder is just phenomenal. It took away that stigma factor by a large margin, even among young people. I was just talking to one of my friend who has a sister currently whose sister is going to college in the US. And we were just talking about how when she went to school, like even 5 years ago, no one was using dating apps, and it was considered kind of a weirdo if you were. But now, only 5 years later, literally everyone is on dating apps. And so I don't think it's as considered. For sure, some people still feel embarrassed about it, but it's a lot less.
I have a question. The first question is, how is the algorithm able to figure out better over time whether someone is a better match for someone or not? Like, what are the factors you're looking at? And the second question is, how do you decide on the right level of specificity? Like, on like how specific a profile has to be in order to get better numbers?
Yeah, so algorithm, we have hard criteria and also like softer kind of criteria, which is the machine learning part. So the hard criteria is like when you sign up for Confidence Builder, you can specify exactly what you want in terms of age and height. And the way we came up with this category, those criteria initially was just secondary and primary research before we launched the app. And then over time, we actually decided to add some, like height, like majority of women actually wanted height. So given that we really cater for women, we had to add that. And so we changed over time. On the softer part, we try to use collaborative filtering to kind of understand, okay, now that we have a ton of users, we have a lot of users who have demographically at least like similar profiles you do when you sign up. And so we try to match you with people who people like you have had a history of liking and connecting. It's actually really hard because it's not like Netflix or Amazon where you suggest the different products and you could